The location for their meeting was as sterile and anonymous as the betrayal felt personal and grotesque. A dimly lit hotel bar in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. It was a place for quiet, illicit transactions, far from the prying eyes of the DC elite. Victoria sat in a high-back leather booth, a glass of untouched whiskey sweating in front of her. The glacial calm she'd felt in the car had begun to crack, revealing the raging inferno beneath. David arrived looking exactly as she remembered, practical, weary, and grounded in a world she had long since left behind. He slid into the booth, his eyes scanning her face with a familiar concern. "Vicky, what is it? You look like you've seen a ghost." Victoria let out a short, bitter laugh that sounded like breaking glass. "I wish it were a ghost, David. Ghosts are clean. This is filthy." She took a long swallow of her whiskey, the burn a welcome distraction. She didn't have the words to describe the scene she'd witnessed, so she chose the bluntest instrument possible. "It's Donovan," she said, her voice low and venomous. "He's with Jamal." David stared, his mind clearly struggling to connect the names in the way she intended. "With him? What do you mean? Like coaching him now?" "No," Victoria snapped, her voice cracking. "Not like coaching. With him." The color drained from David's face as the horrific meaning settled. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief, and then hardened into something she hadn't seen in years, a cold, primal fury. He was a man from a traditional Christian background, a man who believed in a specific, unyielding world order. This act wasn't just a betrayal of Victoria, it was a perversion of nature, a corruption of his bloodline. That animal," David whispered, his hands clenching into fists on the table. "He came into your house around our son, and he preyed on him." "He's a sickness," Victoria agreed, her own rage solidifying, feeding off of David's. "An infection that needs to be cleansed." Fueled by whiskey, shared history, and a twisted sense of righteous morality, the conversation turned dark. They spoke in clipped, coded sentences. The problem, the solution, the contamination, the removal. For David, it was about restoring a moral order, about protecting his son from a corrupting influence. For Victoria, it was simpler, colder. It was about eradicating a threat. Donovan Cross had compromised her most valuable asset, her son, the heir to the Sterling Empire. In the world of high-stakes business, you don't mitigate such threats. You eliminate them. The plan was born in that sterile hotel bar, a monstrous creation conceived from pain and pride, a family cruise, a celebration, a chance to get away from it all. It would be the perfect cover. "He won't see it coming," David said, his voice a low growl, his eyes gleaming with a dark purpose Victoria recognized from her own reflection in the boardroom. "We'll cleanse this family. For good." If you're enjoying this story, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next episode. The luxury cruise ship was a floating city of forced fun and glittering distractions, a perfect stage for the dark play they were about to perform. The atmosphere in their adjoining suites was thick with a suffocating, unspoken tension. Victoria played the part of the doting partner flawlessly, her smiles as bright and hollow as the ship's decor. Donovan, seemingly oblivious, was relieved that the strange coldness from the past week had lifted. He mistook her calculated performance for forgiveness. Jamal, however, was not so easily fooled. He was acutely aware of his mother's brittle energy and the new unnerving alliance she seemed to have with his father, who had called several times to wish them a good trip. Consumed by a possessive, all-encompassing love for Donovan, Jamal watched them all with a suspicious, jealous eye. He felt a protective instinct stirring, a sense that he needed to guard Donovan from a threat he couldn't yet name. The ghost in the machine was David. He had boarded the ship in Fort Lauderdale, a face in the crowd using a fake name and a prepaid burner phone. He was a phantom moving through the ship's corridors, his presence unknown to Donovan and Jamal, a secret weapon waiting to be deployed. On the third day, as the ship docked at a private island in the Bahamas, Victoria initiated the plan. "I've arranged something special," she announced at breakfast, her voice radiating a false warmth. "A private boat tour, just for the two of us, to get away from all these crowds." Donovan beamed, pulling her into a hug. That sounds amazing. You're the best, you know that? Jamal watched them, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach. What am I supposed to do? There's a teen club, basketball courts. You'll be fine, Victoria said dismissively. We need some time alone. Her coldness confirmed his fears. Something was wrong. As Victoria and Donovan disembarked, Jamal made a decision. He slipped off the ship minutes later, keeping a safe distance, his heart pounding. He followed them through the bustling port, his instincts screaming that he had to protect the man he loved. Victoria led Donovan to a secluded pier, where a small, weathered motorboat waited, its captain a local man with a face like tanned leather. His fee had been paid in cash, with a hefty bonus for amnesia. As they climbed aboard, Jamal hid behind a stack of lobster traps, his phone clutched in his hand. He felt a tremor of fear, a premonition of violence. He raised his phone, the lens peering through a gap in the wooden slats, and hit record. The boat motored away from the shore, a small speck heading for the deep, turquoise water. From his hiding place, Jamal's phone captured it all, a silent, digital witness to the perfect family outing that was about to become the perfect murder. If you're enjoying this story, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next episode. The small motorboat cut through the impossibly turquoise water, leaving the bustling port and the colossal cruise ship far behind. The sun was hot, a relentless, blinding glare off the surface of the ocean. Victoria sat stiffly on a cushioned bench, her designer sunglasses a dark, unreadable mask. Across from her, Donovan stretched his long, athletic frame, a picture of relaxed bliss. He was completely captivated by the illusion she had so carefully crafted. "This is incredible, Victoria," he said, his voice full of genuine awe. "Way better than some crowded tourist trap. How did you even find this guy?" Victoria forced a tight, brittle smile. "I have my ways." The boat captain, the local man with the weathered face, remained silent at the helm, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He was a ghost already paid for his time and his discretion. From the dense tropical foliage on the shore, Jamal watched, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. He had scrambled along the coastline, keeping the boat in sight. A knot of jealousy and pure animal fear twisted in his gut. He didn't trust his mother's sudden kindness to Donovan. He didn't trust the cold, dead look in her eyes. He raised his phone again, the lens a tiny dark eye peering through the broad green leaves, and made sure it was still recording. The captain cut the engine. The sudden silence was deafening, broken only by the gentle, rhythmic lapping of water against the hull. The boat bobbed gently in the deep open water, hundreds of yards from the nearest shore. "So quiet out here," Donovan mused, looking around. "What's the plan? A little private snorkeling?" "Something like that," a cold, familiar voice said. The small cabin door behind Donovan creaked open. David emerged, his face a mask of cold, righteous fury. He was dressed in simple, nondescript clothing, a phantom materializing at their feast. Donovan shot to his feet, his relaxed posture instantly vanishing, replaced by coiled tension. His eyes, wide with shock, darted from David's hate-filled face to Victoria's stony expression. "David, what the hell is this? Ania? Victoria, what's going on?" Victoria slowly removed her sunglasses. The eyes that met his were not the eyes of the woman who loved him. They were the eyes of the CEO who had just closed a hostile takeover, cold and devoid of mercy. "You're a sickness, Donovan," she said, her voice flat. "I brought you into my home. I trusted you with my son." David took a step forward, his presence radiating menace. "We're from a good Christian home. We raised our son to be a man. You came in and you poisoned him. You twisted him into something unnatural." The horrifying realization finally dawned on Donovan's face. This wasn't a surprise getaway. This was an ambush, an execution. "Twisted him?" he yelled, his voice a mix of terror and defiance. "He is who he is. I love him, and he loves me. You can't." David lunged, a syringe suddenly appearing in his hand, as if from nowhere. Donovan, with the explosive reflexes of a professional athlete, shoved him back hard. But Victoria was already moving, grabbing his arm with surprising strength, her nails digging into his skin. The boat rocked violently, It was 2 against 1, a coordinated attack fueled by a shared, venomous rage. They were stronger. In the struggle, David jabbed the needle deep into Donovan's thigh. Donovan cried out, a sharp, strangled gasp of pain and shock. He stumbled backward, his body already beginning to betray him. A tremor ran through his powerful frame as the fast-acting poison took hold. His muscles locked, his breath hitched. He looked at Victoria, his eyes wide with pleading and utter betrayal. "Victoria, why?" She just stared, her face a blank slate of resolved fury. Together, she and David shoved his seizing, convulsing body toward the edge of the boat. He tumbled over the side with a heavy, graceless splash and disappeared instantly into the deep blue water, leaving behind only ripples that slowly faded into nothing. Before you go, tap that like button, leave a comment to let us know what you think, and subscribe so you're always the first to hear our next story. Your support keeps these stories coming.